You said a good boot.
That would be a good one. Okay.
Sir, you on TV yesterday. Channel 5. I didn't see it really. Larry saw it. Larry saw it.
All right, we ready?
Mr. Clerk?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newark Municipal Council's public meeting. Please rise for the singing of the national anthem and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam President, in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice has been provided to the Star Ledger, the Jersey Journal, and to the public at large establishing the date, time, and location of this meeting. May I have a roll call of those present, please?
Here. Present.
Present. Here.
Present.
Here. Here.
Yes.
This way.
Mr. Clerk, we are honored, absolutely honored. We have some very special guests. However, just in terms of introduction, we could talk on and on and on. I am going to ask the Honorable LaMonica McIver, who is the councilwoman for that area, to say a few words about the Newark Boys Chorus, and their full name you will get as they are introduced. Councilwoman will then introduce the Director of Cultural Affairs for the City of Newark, Gwen Moten, who will then introduce the leadership and talk about the performance on today. So let's put our hands together as we welcome the Newark Boys Chorus to the chambers. Woo.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I really don't have much to say. Thank you, Council President, for allowing us to have this presentation today. To my council members, thank you so much. I just want to, I'm going to leave the honors to Gwen Moulton, Miss Gwen Moulton, who's here with us to introduce the school. You guys look lovely. I just want to say that. You look lovely, and I am thrilled to hear today's performance. So, Ms. Moulton.
Thank you, Councilwoman and President Crump. It is truly my honor to introduce what we call Newark's finest ambassadors. They have traveled the world, and it has been many years that I was able to travel with them for about 8 years as the director. And I am continually proud of what they do, not only in their school, but what they do musically to represent the city of Newark. And please welcome the head director of the school, Mr. Paul Chapin.
Thank you, Gwen. Members of the council, Madam President, it's my pleasure, my honor to be in front of you as head of school for Newark Boys Chorus School. We're your neighbors. We're just down the road next to Symphony Hall. And we've been in that building for just over 50 years. Some of you may know the history of the school and the presence of these fine young men, their families, this community's support over time, and the wonderful things that they've done in this city, musically, artistically, educationally, with the support of this council and this community. These are beautiful, beautiful young men with families that support what they do. We welcome third graders through eighth graders into our school, and they represent us locally, nationally, and throughout the world. Last year, they were in Chile and Argentina as ambassadors of the U.S. People have asked me, how did I come to this position? Because I'm the new guy on the block. I'm the newbie, they say. What was attractive about coming here? And the answer is simple. Newark is exploding with beautiful art, beautiful artists, remarkable growth, and incredible traditions. We have to remember how we got to this point as we grow and move forward in so many wonderful ways. We have new people coming to Newark to see the museums, to spend time in the library, to live, and to bring all of what they feel is wonderful to this city. And we're preserving the folks who've made it great, and preserving it through our art, through our education, and through our young people, who I am so very proud of. As we look ahead, this is a transitional time for us at Newark Boys Chorus School. As many of you know, we're going to be moving, and we're not quite sure where yet. Transitions can be both scary and exciting. The scary part is, where do we end up? Where's our permanent home for Newark Boys Chorus School? And we don't know that yet. The exciting part is, where's our new home for Newark Boys Chorus School? Because we don't know that yet. The possibilities are wonderful. And with this community's support, anything's possible. Wonderful things are possible. We need your help. You're in position to help us find that new home. You're in position to talk to the folks who can help us fund that new home. It's expensive to run a private school, an independent school such as Newark Boys Chorus School, and these gentlemen are in families that pay no tuition. They come to us, and we rely on wonderful people, corporations, private foundations, and donors that see the gems. They see the future. They see what's possible. And they give us hope. They give us hope to look forward and see what is the future that we could be. Just after they sing, I'll invite you to our next concert. But more important than my words is what these gentlemen bring to you. This is the concert chorus of Newark Boys Chorus School under the direction of Mr. Donald Morris.
Of all the feelings that a young person can have, there is one that makes life seem desolate, empty, and sometimes not even worth living when it is not there. Hope. Hope for the future, hope to be loved, hope to be heard. When children are without hope, they are robbed of one of the most defining parts of their childhood. You must never underestimate the power of giving hope to a child.
The whispers of my heart speak so softly. Are they really there if no one hears them? My voice is so small and so soft. Can you hear me? Give us hope, and we'll show you the way.
Good evening, good afternoon, and I think since it's after Thanksgiving, we can say holidays, right?
Yes?
Between now and December and January, it's all festivity and celebration. These young men have a concert just about every day, Day till Christmas Day, just about. And our big concert will begin in Princeton on Saturday, and we also have our concert for Newark on the 16th. And to give you a little taste of what
Thank you so much. You're welcome to
Did I tell
remain
you?
as long as you would.
Did I tell you?
Yes.
Listen, this is a poster for the concert that's coming up both in Princeton this Saturday and then on the 16th on Monday at 7 o'clock at Grace Church on Broad Street.
Perfect. Paul, can you leave a copy with the Miss Jerusha right here? Thank you so much.
You have to go, you have to speak from the microphone. Would you
Most
like to
people
speak
say
from the mic?
I have a
Yes.
big enough mouth.
Only because, no. Only because we want every word that you utter to be heard.
Thank you. These are tickets to the concert here in Newark, which is on Monday, the 16th of December at 7 p.m. And we would love to see you there and welcome you in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Newark Boys Chorus. To the regular agenda. Council as a whole to accept the reports and recommendations of the boards and commissions.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Madam President, before I go on, I'd just like to announce to the public that if you wish to see this performance again, this meeting will be rebroadcast on Sunday, the 7th, Sunday, December the 8th at 12 noon. Ordinance on public hearing, second reading and final passage. 6 PSNF-A is an ordinance for providing for a bond issue for the city's green infrastructure and sewer system project. Council of the whole to defer action at this time.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
B is an ordinance granting and amending supplemental Title V amusements and amusement businesses of the city of Newark as amended by adding a new chapter, redemption amusement games. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing, Mr. Clerk.
No one appearing, motion to close the public hearing and adopt. Council of the whole?
Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Next
C is an
item.
ordinance that will move the establishment terms and compensation of the Central Planning Board from Title 41, Chapter 11, Sections 1 through 10, and adding it to Title II, Administration, Chapter 2, Office of the Mayor and Agencies, Article 5, Officers of Boards, Commissions, and Authorities to reestablish the membership, terms, and compensation of the members of the Central Planning Board. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
Madam
No one
President,
appearing.
yeah, I had made a request yesterday regarding a possible amendment, and I'm not sure, if the clerk incorporated those recommendations to change this on the floor.
Councilman, we researched the issue, and there are no caps, so if you wish to adjust the compensation, you may do it at this time.
Yeah, I would like to. I thought your office would prepare that for the meeting today, so.
Or would we need a number?
Well, make it the same per meeting as the planning board members.
Understood. Council of the whole to amend the ordinance?
I'll move it.
Amend on the floor.
Second.
Ramos, James.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
We have amended this ordinance to establish the per meeting payment for the members of the Central Planning Board to mirror that of the members of the Board of Adjustment. However, since the members of the Planning Board have more meetings, their compensation will exceed the current $5,000. Council of the whole to adopt as amended?
Roll call as amended, Mr. Clerk.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes,
I
Councilman
want to thank
Reynolds.
my colleagues for considering the amendment. I do believe that both boards have, an enormous amount of responsibility. They work very hard on behalf of the residents of the city, and in particular, over the last few years, the Board of Adjustment has put in some very long hours because so many of our development projects throughout the city require, different forms of variances, and I do believe that both boards should be equally compensated. Not the planning board members are compensated at a higher per meeting rate than the Board of Adjustment members. I want to thank you.
Anyone
for your
else?
support.
Mr. Clerk?
Six SF A is an ordinance amending the supplemental Title 8 of the Business and Occupations. This would prohibit the use of plastic bags. Council of the whole to table at this time?
Roll call to table.
We had a.
Do you want to do Gonzalez Ramos? Roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next item.
Resolutions. Resolution 7R1A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a budget insertion for the Delancey Street Final Design Project. Resolution 7R1B is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a budget insertion for the Housing Opportunity for People with AIDS program. C is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a transfer of CDBG funds from CDBG from various programs to the homeless shelter program. D is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for maintenance and repair of overhead doors installation and accessories. E is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for maintenance and repair of electrical power maintenance, installation, and repair. F is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for the maintenance and repair of plumbing, maintenance, and installation and repair through 701F. Council of the whole to adopt.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
Pardon me.
Yes.
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 Madam President,
Councilman Amador.
I mentioned, as I mentioned yesterday, this project has been going on for the last 3 or 4 years. The state has been working on it for quite a while, and I think it's appropriate that we ask the state what's going on with the Delancey Street project, especially in view of the Duke Realty warehouse just built there. Commitments were made that both projects would go hand in hand. I think the community wants to know what's going on with this project before we spend more money.
Which project is that?
The Delancey Street project, the design.
Anyone else? Mr. Clerk?
7R3A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Engineering designating a bus stop. This is Hawthorne Avenue eastbound at Peshide Avenue near side to be relocated to West Petty Street at Jelloff Avenue. Councilman James wishes to move, second by Councilman Osborne.
In his absence,
In his absence,
I'll second.
Yes.
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 Seminar 6A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Law for settlement of a civil litigation. Council of the whole to adopt?
Roll call to defer, Mr. Clerk.
Adopt.
Adopt.
I'm sorry?
To adopt.
Why do I have defer?
I think the Corporation
It was the
Council
recommendation.
That's right,
It
the
was the
Corporation Council
recommendation.
indicated that you wanted to defer this.
You wanted it
Did
deferred.
mark it correctly. Council of the whole to
We
defer.
know you had a cold yesterday. You feel better?
Excuse.
Yes, defer.
Yes.
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 8A is an authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for establishing the municipal council meeting dates for 2020. 8B is an authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk establishing the municipal paid holiday schedule for 2020. 8C is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk urgent support for the displaced Newark Housing Authority security guards due to the change of contractors to ensure they are offered work at the Newark Housing Authority and establish policies strengthening protections from displacement and wage and benefit standards. Councilwoman Councilwoman Crump wishes to move, second by Councilwoman McIver.
Roll call, please.
Through 7R8C. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes on A and B, abstain on C.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next,
Madam President.
I thought that there was.
Councilman Gonzalez.
I saw some emails from Victor Cirillo, the Director of Housing Authority, to you and others, expressing some concerns about this resolution, because it seems that there is another side to the story, and that's why I abstained on the resolution.
Okay. Full disclosure, I spoke with Mr. Cirillo last night, and I have also been in communication with the mayor every step of the way of this process. And the workers have already met with Mr. Cirillo, and his words to me were everyone is going to be employed, and that was our concern. So it's been a tedious journey, and we do have some representatives from 32BJ in the audience. They're going to share with us their support and thanks at a later date.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman James and then Councilman Ramos.
Madam President, my colleagues, and to the public, I want to publicly commend Victor Cirillo, Director of NHA, for having a job fair for those 15 displaced employees yesterday. And it is my belief that it was communicated the majority of them were able to obtain employment, and we'll get more details later. But he didn't have to, but he hosted a job fair specifically for those 15 to 18 individuals. Some had already obtained employment, but 15 were able to gain employment. And again, we'll find out more information later.
Councilman Ramos.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, I too agree with Councilman Gonzalez. There's been, a little bit of back and forth. I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the employees who were displaced as a result of the change in security vendors, and I would like, through your chair and the clerk, for us to maybe have Mr. Cirillo appear before the council at some point, just to talk to us a little bit about what happened in this particular case, and also to give us an indication as to whether or not, when they do these bids in the future, that they can include some worker protection clauses in their bid contracts to ensure that if there is a change in vendors, that those employees who are in good standing, that are currently employed by an existing vendor are not displaced whenever there is a transition. You know, we've done that through the city for a number of different contracts and services, and I'm not sure what precludes the housing authority from having, you know, those same protections in place. So I would ask through your chair and the clerk, you know, I know, you know, schedule is starting to fill up for the new year, but we should have an opportunity to have Mr. Cirillo here to talk about this
Excellent,
issue and any
excellent
other
idea.
issue we want him to address.
Absolutely. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
7R8D is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for hold harmless and indemnification agreement for the annual opening of the Portugal Day celebrations. Councilman Ramos wishes to move, second by Councilman James. Roll call.
We look alike.
You mean
Amador,
Councilman
it's not Ramos.
Amador?
What did I say?
You said
No, I
Ramos.
seconded.
We look
Councilman James.
alike. It's okay.
Amador James.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Like twins.
Said Ronald James.
You said Ramos.
Oh, did I do that? Oh, sorry.
Kathleen,
Amador James.
The younger one.
He has a bad cold, so we'll be
Let's
a
do
little
the-
tolerant.
Yeah, let's do the other two. 8E are various expressions of profound sorrow and regret, and 8F are various recognizing and commending resolutions. Through 7R8F, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 7R12A is an authorizing resolution for the water sewer utilities for a professional services contract to provide professional engineering services on an as-needed basis. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
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 On communications, 8A is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to the 30 Clinton Urban Renewal LLC for a project to rehabilitate an existing 6-story building and create 20 market-rate residential rental units and 400 square feet of retail space located at 30-32 Clinton Street. Council of the Whole to defer action at this time.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was sidebarring.
Yes.
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 Edit-
Yes.
Edit starter pages. Page. 8B is an ordinance for providing for a special emergency appropriation of $10 million for the payment of contractually required severance liabilities resulting from the layoff or retirement of city employees. Council of the Whole to advance to first reading
Can we adopt this?
on first? If you're,
Mr. BA, can we adopt this on first reading?
President, if I may ask a quick question here. We are providing $10 million for possible, I suppose, retirement of police officers and firefighters. What are we doing in terms of replacing those individuals?
I don't
Is that,
think that's that.
Well, it's not, I believe that's what unless there's something that I am not, let's say,
no,
privy to.
nothing that you're not privy to. Go ahead, Mr. BA.
Good afternoon, Eric Pennington, Business Administrator for the City of Newark. There are various undertakings with respect to replacement. There are classes that have been going forward. The Director of Public Safety is aware that there are people who are eligible for retirement, all of whom have not identified yet whether they will, but there are measures in place to make sure that we have adequate resources to move forward.
And
I feel, oh, go ahead.
the other question is, do we have, let's say, I believe that in the past we had some issues recruiting young men from the city of Newark. Any plans of extending the area that we can hire from?
I don't know if there are plans to extend the area, but there is legislation Well, let's just say that we want to make sure that we give Newark residents an opportunity to become firefighters and officers. As the legislation currently stands, after a period of time, they no longer have to reside in the city of Newark.
No,
There's not a plan to,
I totally support, let's say, the hiring of Newark residents. Is that sometimes we have some issues recruiting enough people to fill the classes.
That's true. That is true. We have to, have undertaken efforts to make sure that people are aware of the opportunity. We certainly want to enlist your support and the support of everyone to make sure that qualified and competent people do apply, who are, with an emphasis on city residents. And there's a plan in place, and we have constant, ongoing discussions with the Department of Public Safety to make sure that we get out the word to the appropriate people.
Thank you. Roll call.
Are we advancing and adopting on first?
Advancing to adopt.
This is to advance and
On
adopt
first.
on first
And
at
adopt on
6FA.
first.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Madam President, if I
sure.
unrelated to this, but about the $50,000 that we provided for the sports, maybe we should create the same here, emergency appropriation, so that we can spend that money before the end of the year, because otherwise that money will not be spent. Can we, let's say, accrue for those expenses, the $50,000, instead of allowing those $50,000 that we provided for to go into the superávit of the city?
Yeah, Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Ramos.
this is like the maybe fourth time that Councilman Gonzalez raises this issue, and the bottom line is, the end of the year is a few weeks away. We allocated these dollars to support our local Little Leagues throughout the city during the city's budget process, and it seems like we're at a kind of like a stalemate between the clerk's office and Department of Recreation, and we need to get some guidance maybe through the clerk's office on how, the council may be able to support, these Little League organizations. Instead of, council members keep raising the issue at every meeting, my expectation is that, we're provided with a path on how this is possible, and what actions can we take in order to support these groups. We've done it in the past without any issues, and, it seems like this year when the money's available, we can't procedurally get it done, and to me, that's unacceptable.
You're absolutely right, and thank you for reminding me, because several persons have approached me about the council having the conversation about what you just mentioned. So, Mr. Clerk, based on...
Last time, Mr. Clerk indicated that he would take care of business.
Well, he's going to do it this
I would like
time.
to see what happens between here and the next meeting.
Mr. Clerk, show the councilman that
You're going to do it?
you're going to do it.
Give the $50,000 from the Recreation Department. They don't want to spend it. They don't want to be responsible for distributing the $50,000. Let's transfer that money out of there.
That's, Councilman, I have met with the business administrator, and I've talked with the director of the Department of Recreation, and that appears to be the only solution. We'll have to transfer the money and move it into a position where the council can administer the distribution. However, I will leave the sign-off on this funds to the council members, but we need to discuss how you want to do this. So at the end of the special Tuesday, we can discuss a program?
What we should do is appropriate the money to let's say, to some leagues or whatever it is, so that, and then we can change the person that is being appropriated to. But I believe that we should spend the money before the year is over, because all these entities are in need of money. They say, otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. I believe that we provided the $50,000 so that to bring some relief to some of these entities that do not have any money to take care of the business of the kids of the city of Newark.
Madam President?
Councilman Quintana.
Madam President, in the past, there was one time there was an issue similar to this issue. And what happened was there were some nonprofits that the money was marked towards that nonprofit, and those individual council folks were able to cut a check for whoever that group was. So that happened in the past.
Yes.
I remember that. Maybe you were absent that day, but I was here. And it happened. And I remember back then, the late Councilman Tucker, and we did it that way. We did it with Focus at the time. We did it with different wards in the West Ward. We did it with the West Ward. We did it in the East Ward at the time with the Ironbound group. So we have done it in the past. And so it can be done through a nonprofit.
We should designate a dispersing agent.
And then I suggest,
And then Councilman Amador.
and then I suggested maybe per ward, $10,000 per ward, through the nonprofit, so we have an amount also.
If you want, yeah, but then, again, we don't want this to become another Hess where the at-larges get left out. And the ward folks, you understand?
Okay.
I mean, that's just try to, this is a pie, so let's put the pie
Not a problem.
the right way, John.
The West got left out too.
I know.
Well,
Councilman Amador.
he chose not to.
All
Right.
right.
Councilman Amador.
Well, I'm not complaining about a Hess. I'll be the last one to complain about a Hess, because if we get the pollution, we might as well get the money. The problem with the distribution of the funds, the last time that this was done in the East Ward was that particular council person identified only one organization to give the entire amount of money available. That shouldn't be the case. There's more than one organization that needs help. And what we should do is we should identify first all the nonprofit organizations that are involved in recreation, ask them to send a letter to the city clerk, maintain the fund in the city clerk's office, and distribute the money accordingly.
About what? Madam President.
Not necessarily to one organization only.
No, what happened was at the time, let me explain to you what happened. What happened was if I had a portion and there were 10 people who wanted, the organization Focus would cut that check to the Roberto Clemente Little League or the Rick Cerrone at the time, but it would go through one nonprofit at the time, which was easier.
That's fine.
I mean, this is...
But in the case of the East Ward, was done wrong. It was done only for one organization, and the rest just looked at it with nothing.
So, Mr. Clerk, obviously, there is some complexity to the discussion. So, under your leadership, organize a meeting so that we can work out the details. Councilman Quintana and Osborne, we served at a time when there was a process, and it really did work. How it got changed, I don't remember. But if we can have a meeting aside from this meeting at our earliest convenience, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Next item.
8C is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement to the Co-Main Properties Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 5-story mixed-use building containing a total of 60 market-rate housing units, 89 parking spaces, and 2,000 square feet of accessory amenity retail space located at a real property commonly known as 96-112 Main Street.
Councilman?
Can we move it to first and approve it?
Advance and adopt on first?
Adopt on first.
Second.
Roll call. Thank you, Ms.
And I'd like to sponsor.
Yes.
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 Madam President?
Yes,
I-
Councilman.
I think the general public needs to know, first of all, a word of thanks to the Director of Economic Development, to the Corporation Council, the BA, and the City Clerk, who worked tirelessly on this issue to make sure that it's available today. But the public should know that this tax abatement, this 30-year tax abatement, comes with strings attached. I'll be the last one to support any tax abatement that is given to anyone without anything in return to the residents, given to the residents of the city of Newark. And on this case, these developers are providing 42 units of affordable housing in the same ward where it's sorely needed. So I not only thank those folks that I mentioned before, but I also have to thank the developers who came through with a commitment that they made from the very beginning to create 42 units of affordable housing. So people who live in the East Ward or anywhere else in the city of Newark don't have to move out of the city of Newark, and they'll be able to afford to live in the community where they are. And the perfect example of this is the folks who live at Terrell Homes, and we're working on planning this in the future. So I have to commend the developers and those folks who work very hard to make sure that this is reality.
Mr. Clerk.
And actually, they're here. They're sitting in the back, if I'm not mistaken.
Aye.
Please stand up.
And the attorney's here. He's on the meter. Mr. Fausto.
The attorney is the only one who's making money.
Congratulations.
He's a meter guy.
Yeah.
Meter running.
Mr. Clerk.
Madam President, the items adopted on first reading today will be advertised in accordance with law, and a public hearing will be held at the regular public council meeting of December 18th, Wednesday, December 18th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. That concludes the agenda. We will move on to the hearing of citizens and come back for motions.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Newark Municipal Council's hearing of citizens. Only those individuals who have signed up by the closing deadline will be allowed to speak this afternoon. When your name is called, please step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. You will see a small timing device on the podium in front of you, which will begin counting down your time when you begin speaking. When you will be given 5 minutes to speak. When you reach the 4-minute mark, the yellow light will illuminate, indicating that you have 1 minute remaining for summation. When you reach your 5th minute, the red light will illuminate, and there will be an audible sound indicating that your time has expired. Please look forward, speak into the microphone. We are recording these proceedings, and if you turn away, we may miss part of your statement. Please address questions to the chair and not individual council members. The first speaker for this afternoon is Earl Best, Street Doctor.
Earl Best, Street Doctor, 445 Orange Street, Newark. Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
To all, yeah, really.
That's okay.
All right, very briefly, I would like to say Happy New Year to the council people and whoever is listening for a reason. So I want to start off with this. The last time I was here, very briefly, I had said 20 years ago, which is this year, when I came home from college, 3 people accepted me, and from that time on, 20 years later, I'm still here. The first one is the Honorable Raz J. Baraka. During that time, he was a council person, Pat Council, and Ms. Donna Jackson. So since that time, I said I wanted to do a thank you to them, in which I did, but since that time, I wanted to give a thank you to other people, in which I did. So what I wanted to do today is just to give a thank you to our ancestors. One of them is Thurgood Marshall, with the words that he left. One thing about telling the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. The next one is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said, live as though this is your last day. The next one is Harriet Tubman. I would have freed more slaves only if they knew they were slaves. And her last one, I'd be buried in my grave before I be a slave. The next one is Marcus Garvey. You done killed the lion, but the cubs run loose. Up, you mighty nation, you can accomplish what you will. The next one is the Honorable Josephine Baker. One thing in the world you'll never get punished for, and that's giving. The next one is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Wake up, black man, and do something for yourself. The next one is Malcolm X, by any means necessary. And last but not least, George Washington Carpenter. He said a lot of people pray, and their prayers don't go as high as their ceiling. That's a history on that. And this one is a roll call with God. It's called Little Hinges Swing Big Doors. Pause before you judge, pause before you assume, and pause before accusing. The next one is watch how you judge people, Terry Williams, because if you know their secrets, it may make you weep. The next one is you never know what someone is going through, be kind always. The next one is don't forget your current situation is not your permanent destination. If opportunity knock on the door, if opportunity don't knock on the door, build one. Last but not least, because we're heading into, the reason why I do this, council people and the people that listening, we don't do enough thank yous in Newark. Newark is a deep city. It ain't everybody. And I know what the people be trying to do the right thing, what they going through. I'm getting personal now. About 6 months ago, I went in the hospital, and I was diagnosed with, please, this is very important here. Diabetes. All right. And I refused to take the medication. Some stuff they gave me. Then they wanted to put me on the machine and all that. All right. So through that, I lost weight. Okay. Some silly joker, which I found out who it was, right? Let me be the street doctor. He's on drugs. Now I can see if they could say he back robbing banks. Please, baby, interfere with my thoughts. I can see if they can say that he's robbing banks, which I'm not doing, but they're going to say that I'm using drugs. No investigation, no right to speak. December the 26th, 1947, to that person who putting that out, where were you at? That's over 70-some years ago, which in 3 weeks, I'm heading to my 80s. You know what I mean by that? I'm past the 70s now. You know, so I'm not exempt. You know, I'm different because I move, I'm preserved. Thank you, Mom, because, you know, right, I work out. So I'm different. It don't have nothing to do with gender and all that stuff. I work out. But stop it, man. Let me be the street doctor until it's over with. I don't have long, but I just wanted to put this on the record, right, that do everything that you can do good. That's why I put that quote in there about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. When he said, live as though this your last day. Treat everybody kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Opal R. Wright.
Good afternoon, council people.
Good afternoon.
My name is Opal R. Wright. I reside on Vanderpool Street in Newark, New Jersey. I am here concerned with the distribution of funds. The law that I will be addressing or speaking to you would be cited the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. there's several programs, services that have funds that are additional funds mostly, and it is for the improvements or to improve the quality of life, and that's in states in the U.S., from the United States here in America. And I'm concerned with the pretty much the 1% that is available if the state, the council, and the mayor should have, or something that in the city that needs to be improved or needs money to make programs and services available. And there's the, I'd like to speak on the Department of Commerce, which was started, I believe, in 1903, and it was to ease the citizens at that time, before then, understood that they were going to be levied for taxes, and to keep us sort of at peace or concentrating on the growth. Many of the department was open, and this department has funds available, and we have small business funds available. There's the S Corporation that's mentioned in this law, and that is for the S Corporations for small businesses, which is a small, you can also receive a form which is 2553 for election of small business corporations. And I've also read of the parity transportation. This, I believe, is calculated, or it's during the fiscal year, the amount that's spent on transportation is, I guess it's available to the department, and it's as a fringe benefit. So we have loans, grants, and also fringe benefits. So this is, to me, it seems as though we should bring out or signify more on that benefit that's provided. I also would like to talk about the Dodd-Frank Wall Street reform and the Consumer Protection Act, where there's we have in the first title concerning with non-banks, which is your, the first title is financial stability. And so we have our non-banks, which we're considered pawn shops. That's it. But when you look in the law, please check the entities, the products, so that you would know that they are discussing swaps and Wall Street, these entities that you would see there. You have the, there's the, what we call the financial, I think they were entitled to, they're saying that they would like to have all of the, most of the things that liquidated, the businesses that are in, that needs to be treated for a stability, financial stability, they're going to liquidate. So they give us a moment, I mean, they will give you authority to put in for any funds that are
Thank you.
in your claim to company. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Colleen M. Fields.
I don't know why there's a clock when you keep telling people their time is up, Ms. Crump. It's unbelievable. But anyway, my name is Colleen Fields. I happily reside at 27 Foster in the fabulous city of Newark, New Jersey. And my sister Colleen shout out goes to a homeless person that is a resident of Newark that maybe don't nobody understand. But I know one thing, that I'm so glad, and I thank Allah, Jesus and Jehovah, that the owner of the, Doctor's Chicken is not in business. I've been coming to this mic ever since 2007, telling you how the outsiders come into our community and disrespect us. The bodegos, the man on the corner at the liquor store, the people down here at 7-Eleven that call Hassan, the activist, a nigger, and the lady at the Chinese place that charged me and refused to give my money back, and I went down there 3 days till she gave it back. And I have a sign. It says, and I'm speaking this from my heart, it said, Maribaraka down, gentrification forces black folks out of their homes in Newark. And I mean that. And it does. And I find it so appalling that everybody's excited about all this stuff downtown. And it's not for us. And it's a shame. And I find it really strange that the very thing Mr. Baraka said about how Newark was the first to have a black mayor, a black police director, a black and a brown council, and a school board, for them to do exactly what the outsiders tell them to do. And it's very hurtful to see that his son and both of his sons are doing the same thing. For 5 years, I've not been disrespectful. I've been asking the mayor and Mitty to have a meeting with me. That hasn't happened. And I'm appalled. Ray stood on my shoulders, and everybody know. I didn't know what a fool I was. That I did everything but fist fight when somebody talked about race. It is just a shame. And I'm hurt over that. You know, I'm really hurt. And for the owner of the chicken place to do that to Gary, because I swear on my grandfather's grave, if I would have been there, I'd have jumped on his back, and I probably would try to break his neck. It doesn't matter what you do, but I know what the deal is. He saw a nigger. They don't respect us. He saw a nigger. And that's attempted murder, to beat somebody with a pipe or a blunt object like that. I don't know. Some people, and we know Gary can be out, we know that, but there is no excuse. And I had a conversation with a lady that witnessed the whole thing, and she said she didn't even know my name. She said it was disgraceful the way that man beat Gary. I thought it was bad enough when I saw the act, but then somebody else sent me something where his whole face was bloody. And you know, Gary is one of the 1,958 people that are subject to sleep on Newark streets every night. 258 of them, because I do my homework, don't have a roof over their heads, period, and 700 of them are children. So I don't understand. I guess it's greed. But one thing I can say, I'm proud of my brother. Everybody up there took those $50,000 raises. You should be ashamed of yourself for a part-time job, and people are homeless in Newark. It's a shame. And you know what? I do. The only two black people that I support up there is Miss McIver and Mr. Osborne. Those are the only two, because I've been disrespected by you other three. And Ms. Crump, for you to put in writing that I said I threatened to do bodily harm to you, 79 years old, you put that out in the atmosphere, and you sent it to my enemy, the police department. You didn't know I was going to do it, but it took me a year to do it.
That is not true.
That night.
Please forgive me. That is not true. I'm not going to let you get away with it. Please continue.
I brought in and passed out the papers. You're a liar. I passed out the papers that you wrote. You don't have to lie. You don't have to do that. You don't. You really don't, you know. And I'm just disappointed. I can't say too much about my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters because I don't know what they do. But I know one thing, haven't nobody helped me like Ray Mosi. Amen.
Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Dion McCutcheon,
Not appearing.
Deborah Salters,
Appearing.
Good afternoon, Deborah Salter, City of Newark. You know, I give you guys a real hard time, right, most of the time. So, and I'm fair. So, I mean, today I want to address the activists or advocates, you know, is it hashtag activating or hashtag aggravating? Is it hashtag activating or hashtag shine? And I say this because, you know, those of us who have been coming to this mic and talking about the water crisis and the homeless crisis and the different things that are going on in the city, of course there are those who monopolize on it for their own good to remain relevant and things of that nature. So anything that I do when I come here, I conference my comrades in the fight, and we talk about it and discuss it. So the last council meeting, Ms. Crump, I thought it was disingenuous on both your part and Anthony Diaz of the Water Coalition to come and put the performance on that he did after a year of us having him, dude, come to the meeting, have something to say. He was shaken at the fact that he made a comment one day and on his Facebook page, and Raz said something, and he was shaking in his boots. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how, you know. And we allowed him to hitch his caboose to our train, okay? So the Water Coalition was formed, it made a year in July. But without the steam of Shakima Thomas and Lisa Parker and Felicia Alston and Donna and Cassandra and all of us in the fight, right? So we attempted to work with him on several occasions with the Newark Water Coalition. It's the Newark Water Coalition. We out here fighting, we doing the work. And so there were several times where, you know, we're not in the fight together apparently, but we drafted a letter during the time of the water crisis and sent it to all of officials and things like this. So there was a side deal cut the week of September 9th with Anthony Diaz and his crony with Cory Booker the Monday before that debate. Now, the thing was, Cory wanted them to get behind him to push Payne to pass this legislation, and their names would go on it, and they're high-fiving one another and all of this, but the ones who are in the fight had no part in that. But we were the ones who allowed him to be a part of this. So I'm saying this because, and there are others I could name, but the fact that you said at the last meeting, how many of you received a letter or an invitation from Anthony Diaz for the Water Coalition to be a part of any meeting, and then they decide to walk into Councilman Amador's office, as I had spoken with him on several occasions, Eddie Osborne on several occasions, to, you know, get together and work in the community with the water crisis and things like that. So when you made that invitation to him, and I don't know if it was the cameras, lights, action that was going on because he came with the whole entourage of publicity, but the ones who came to you 3 years ago and every day and every meeting, again, Lisa Parker, Shakima Thomas, you know, Felicia, I named all of them, Donna, all of us, not one of us received that type of, well, you know, come and we'll talk to you, please hold on, and things like that. And I'm saying that because in the civil rights movement and studying our history of the civil rights movement and the civil uprises, there's always been a divide and conquer. And I'm saying that if we are one people and we are fighting one battle and one war, and I'm saying this to the Newarkers and constituents in the city, pay attention to what's going on, pay attention to who your real enemy is, because it's not the one that's fighting on your behalf and the one that's giving you the information. So I'm saying, you know, and those of us who are fighting felt hurt, disrespected. Oh, you can make that kind of invitation to him, who finally showed up, who's shaking in his boots at every turn, and without us, there would have been no steam to the Newark Water Coalition. And then he was making moves without everyone else. Even when he came to the state of the city, state of the water, and he saw us. He saw Shakima, said hi to everybody and all of this stuff. Didn't say anything about what he was doing. And for him to get that type of invitation, and the ones who are actually in the fight, he comes a year after the fight is over. That's like the person showing up and the fight is going on. It's like, hey guys, I'm here.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Helena Freeman.
Not appearing.
Frederica Bay.
Not appearing.
Tanfor Evans.
Not appearing.
Hassan Kirby.
Is he here? Oh.
Gary Vickers.
Hassan Kirby.
Hassan is coming. Sorry.
I didn't see you sitting over there. I apologize.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon.
I love the city of Newark. I don't give a damn what nobody say. I done traveled to St. Louis, Missouri. I done traveled to California, and I seen the homeless conditions, and I seen the desolate things that's going on in those places. Newark is a damn great city on the rise.
Children are watching. Children are watching.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, but Newark is a city on the rise and doing great things. My concern right now for each ward, each council member ward, is we do have a problem that is being swept under the rug. And I thank the fact that we have a great code enforcement team here in the city of Newark to go after some of these landlords and properties. Right now we have a big Jewish population buying up these properties and treating our females and different people terribly. I would not be here today if I wasn't threatened by them myself. I was told by the Zebra Management Company that I need to watch myself and my community because I've been challenging their poor conditions of these properties. On 13th Street, there's a lady right now living in a condition in a property where if you go and you see the leaking coming through the roof, you know that there's lead in there. And I have to say this because I think we got on this water lead thing and we forgot about the lead-based paints in these properties. And you cannot just paint over lead-based property, paint with just anything. And that's what's going on. So when we're going into these properties now and finding these high concentrated levels of lead in these kids, we forgot about the paint. And these Jewish landlords, I don't care who buy property, so please don't get me wrong, like I'm against any type of specific type of people. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You could be Jew, Gentile, black, or white. If you're treating the people wrong and have them living in inhabitable conditions, then that's a problem. And in every ward, we have these properties just slipping by. So that is my serious concern, and I had to bring it to you today after being threatened. I'll be going to Hillside after I leave here to obtain that police report because one of their main offices is on the border of Newark and Hillside, which is at 1405 North Broad Street. That is where they congregate and have multiple management companies, and some of the brokers that are out here giving these properties up to the people are not even licensed. And the females are being taken advantage of the most because they need a place for these kids. We seen kids here today singing this morning. That was great, but we want to continue to give our kids a fighting chance in a habitable living dwelling. How can I go to school and get educated when I'm living in filth? We also just see what happened on Stratford with the building. We can't continue to allow this in our community, and I just want to bring that to your attention, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you. Hassan, before you take your seat, have you put your concerns in writing? Have you put your concerns in writing?
Well, I just got threatened last
Is it yes or no?
No, I haven't put
Please do it.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Gary Vickers.
Appearing.
Captain Gary Vickers, First Vice President, Newark Police Superior Officers Association, 1 Lincoln Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, 34-year veteran of the Newark Police Department, veteran of the United States Marine Corps, also a Central Ward resident. I am here again, second time, for the 1% owed for the members of who I represent, the sergeants, lieutenants, and captains of the police department. The last time I was here, there was a rebuttal from the business administrator, Mr. Eric Pennington, that talked about contracts. I am not here for a contract. I am not here for a tap dance. I am here for 1%. 1%. 1%. I appeared here November 18th of this year. It is now, I believe, December, as you were, December what, 5th? 4th? And we still don't have an answer. Councilman Gonzalez brought up a very interesting question or a little while ago. He talked about what are we doing to retain police officers? What are we doing to get more police officers? The message that's being sent is that we're not going to pay them. It's hard enough to get police officers to come on this job. It is so hard. And then to send a message that once you get here, I used to always say, this is the place to be because you come here, you can get promoted, you can advance your career, you can get training, and there's other things that you can do once you leave this police department. But now, people come, they get the training, and they're leaving because there's no incentive to stay. He is the business administrator. How does he not know that in March of this year, we have over 50 people that are going on retirement? I know that. He said earlier that, well, we don't know. We have over 50 people, and already in 2020, we're slated for over 75. 11 of them are captains in the police department. I know that because I helped process them. All you have to do is ask our, you have meetings with the police department, ask our human resources, ask our finance department, ask anybody, they'll tell you. I'm putting it on Facebook all the time, all the people that are leaving. There's no incentive to stay, but 1%. 1%. The council here, you've already approved it. We don't have to approve it. You've approved it already. You did that back in February of 2019. We signed the contract December 21st of 2018. This is 2019. We're almost 1 year later and we still don't have an answer. There's still no resolution. So in the 2 minutes and 9 seconds I have left, can you give me an answer? I don't want to hear tap dance from the administration. I want to hear what you guys have done in that important seat, those comfortable seats that you have right there that you're sitting in.
Mr. Vickers, you're talking to the wrong people. We did our job. We did what we were supposed to do. And so we have nothing to be embarrassed or embarrassed about. We did our job.
I'm not trying to embarrass you, and I'm not trying to.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
But what I'm doing is I'm going to counsel because.
Gary, I didn't interrupt you when you spoke.
Okay.
And I'm doing something that I rarely do. But since you asked the important question, and there are those who are watching these proceedings on television, I am duty-bound to say we did what we were supposed to do.
Madam President.
I appreciate, Madam President, I really appreciate that. One of the keys to success in leadership is relentless follow-up. We always talk about that in the police department.
Madam President.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, Gary, I apologize for not being at the last meeting. I know you and John addressed this issue, but I would ask, Madam President, through your chair and the clerk, that maybe a Tuesday special that the BA update the council as to when, the SOA members could expect, the payment of this, 1% that you claim was agreed upon and voted on by this council. It should be a simple kind of procedural issue instead of, a bone of contention if it's already been approved.
That's all, and I appreciate that, Councilman Ramos. I really appreciate that, and that's all that we're looking for, because the last council meeting when we were here, Madam President, you had asked for the BA to come up, and you had also asked for an emailed response. I have yet to get that email response. You asked for an email response from the BA and the assistant BA, and that was in November 18th. And today, as of this date, we still don't have an email response. And you asked to be CC'd on that email response. We still don't have it?
I do remember.
You don't have it?
But I did not, I was not aware of the fact that you did not receive a response until just now.
Yeah, you were supposed to be
And
CC'd on that.
Say that again.
I couldn't.
Yes, it was.
Resolution should be honored. I mean,
the suggestion has come from Councilman Ramos, who chairs the Public Safety Committee, that through my chair and through that of the clerk's office, that we will establish, Mr. Clerk, I'm waiting to establish a meeting within the next 7 days so that we can get you an answer.
I really appreciate that. Is that a meeting that we're included in, or is that inclusive of just the City Council and the BA? Just so I'm clear.
Well, give us a moment to decide about the composition. We simply want to get to the process.
Okay.
And that will be within 7 days.
I really appreciate that.
Council President?
Yes.
I just want to, I respectfully to all of my colleagues, and thank you again, Mr. Vickers, for coming out. But at the last council meeting, I requested as part of my motions for an update regarding the 1%, which was at the last regular council meeting. So the fact that we're going to have a presentation at the next Tuesday special meeting is already late, because it's late already, because I still didn't get an update about it. So respectfully, I would ask through your chair that we get something, an update via email to all the council members regarding the 1% payout, whatever the status of from the administration by the end of the day, because we've been asked for it a long time ago. And if we make motions and make requests that are not being respected or not being followed up on, I mean, what are we going to do for next Tuesday again? So if we already made this request, we've given another extended period of time to next Tuesday. No, we already asked for it. So I would respectfully ask that we get it before Tuesday for an update about it, because it's really embarrassing to continue to have people come here to talk about their raises who are, quite frankly, out there working very hard. So we need an update, at least to let us know what is going on from the administration regarding the matter. And I don't want to wait till next Tuesday to get it.
That's leadership. Thank you.
Councilman Gonzalez, and then...
How much are we talking about in terms of dollars?
You would have to refer to the BA to get the exact amount, because I'm not privy to the numbers, because those numbers were worked out in the police department's finance office, and they're still, I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe those numbers are still in the finance office. So that would be between the BA and our police department's finance and grants office. The exact number, I was not involved in the exact calculation of the numbers.
We just created an appropriation for $10 million. Shouldn't we, let's say, include that portion in the appropriation?
That's something you have to defer to the BA for.
If I may, I think that's a question that needs to be discussed with the administration and out of the camera's eye, not to keep any secrets, but certainly to make sure that when we do come back before you, that we will have the right information. Unfortunately, when that's true.
That's why I asked for it before the end of the day.
So our meeting on next. That's true. Mr. Clerk, we will make that happen. Mr. Vickers.
Madam President, could I ask Gary one
Yes.
question? What's the date that this reverts back to? Is it the beginning of the year?
2016 contract. This reverts back to the 2016.
There is a retro involved there.
Yes, involved in the 2016 contract. This is 2019 now. We're not even going to talk about, future contracts until this is settled.
I'm specifically talking
But this
about what you
specifically
claimed that the
goes
city
back to
owes.
2016. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you all listening to me.
Absolutely. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk. Yes, appearing. Crystal?
Good afternoon, Madam President, council members. My name is John Crystal, President of Newark Police Superior Officers Association. We represent the captains, lieutenants, and sergeants of the Newark Police Department, residents at 1 Lincoln Avenue, Suite 300. I'm here to talk today about the false reasons that were given why the Newark Police Department opted out of the next testing cycle for captain. It's management prerogative to promote. That's up to the city. If they want to promote, they can promote. But you don't have to lie to opt out of testing. And just let me give you a little background on what happened. In order to get promoted on the police department, you have to take an exam. So the testing cycle for captain exam was coming up because the current exam expires in April of 2019. Now, the police director put out, and the chief, a letter to all the members. It said, your hard work has led to the city that it's safer than it's been in 50 years. And he went on to say, as many of you know, the 102nd recruit class of 1995 was the largest in Newark police history. And those men and women are coming up on retirement. We expect to lose approximately 100 officers by March 1st, 2020, many of whom have rank. This will open up plenty of promotional opportunities for the remaining force. So our members were asking, is there going to be a promotional exam? I've sent numerous emails for months to the personnel director and the assistant business administrator. Are you going to have an exam? Simple yes or no, because you just don't step in and take the exam because members have to prepare. They put out thousands of dollars to take study groups. They have to study, and they have to use all their personal time. So the Civil Service Commission sends an email to the city that on June 18th that the up-and-coming testing cycle is coming up. And if you want to opt out, you got to let us know by June 24th. Well, an email is sent to the Civil Service Commission by Keisha Daniels. It says, good morning, Jennifer. The Director of Public Safety would like to opt out of the promotional announcement. Director Ambrose met with his staff yesterday to determine his vacancies and decided to promote from the current certification. Please let us know if you require any additional information. Well, the Civil Service Commission responded back, hi, Keisha. Aside from wanting to promote from the current list, is there any other justification you can provide for opting out of the announcement? Well, here was the response. We don't want to participate in the exam because routinely, when new list is promulgated, the union starts making demands that we appoint from the list, and we know through our forecasting that we don't have the funds to make future promotions outside of the ones planned for next month. When there's an exam announcement, the city looks to the new list, while the union, through their council, will file an action against the city to look to the old list, and it's costly in terms of defending the city's position of which lists to appoint from, as well as securing vacancies to accommodate the people when they get there. Well, that's a blatant lie. The SOA has never filed actions against the city regarding old lists and new lists. We never brought any actions. Now, it's the city's prerogative to promote, and they gave them options. You can opt out, but you don't have to lie. We never did this. I mean, I'm shocked and appalled that you're going to try to make the city look good by making the union look bad. If I made blatantly false statements like this in my official capacity, I'd be subject to major discipline up to and including termination. Now, you can promote if you want, or you don't have to promote, but you don't have to lie as an excuse. And somebody should be held accountable for this. I thank you for your time.
Full disclosure, Mr. Crystal, I did share your email. So it's going to be a part of a larger conversation.
Okay. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
Madam President, that concludes the list of speakers for this afternoon. The next hearing of citizens will take place at the Public Council meeting of Wednesday, December the 18th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. I have no pre-printed motions for the council. Motions?
Councilman Gonzalez.
Amador.
Oh, you're doing Councilman Amador's?
Yeah, Madam President, on behalf of Councilman Amador, he wants a letter to the parking authority requesting that they clean the ironbound parking lot at Jackson Street.
Second.
That's as to him.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilman James.
No, on my behalf.
Good evening,
Oh,
Councilman Gonzalez.
have a motion.
Yes, I do have a motion. Actually, it's a letter to the director of garbage and
Public Works.
Public Works. There's a letter that was sent to me, and I believe to other council members, requesting a tree at 384 Bloomfield Avenue. And I want the council, the clerk to submit this letter to the director so that we can get a response as to why we haven't been able to trim the tree that apparently poses a danger to the property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 No. Yes. Councilman James.
I'd like to thank everyone, all the residents, especially in the South Ward and citywide, for caring during the holiday season. I want to thank Newark Emergency Services for their grand opening, rebooting their program. They got a Lotus laundromat to donate free service for a family for a whole month. I'd like to thank Zion Hill Baptist Church, had a food giveaway. Cipher Foundation also had a food giveaway. South Ward Children's Alliance had a food giveaway. Tahir Whitehead and the Hennett family had a feeding at the Trek Center, and the South Ward Children's Alliance also gave away turkeys. Upcoming events, we have the South Ward tree lighting, the corner of Elizabeth Avenue and Chancellor. That'll be December 6th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We also have the same day Salvation Army Veterans Christmas Party. That'll be at 699 Springfield Avenue. That'll be during the day from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And on Saturday, December 7th, we have at 1 p.m. the Bo Porter Sports Complex annual toy Christmas pizza party. And last but not least, we're going to have my monthly meeting. That's going to be December 21st from 9 to 11 at 200 Hawthorne Avenue. All are welcome. Light refreshments will be served.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilman McCallum.
Okay, I want to give birthday wishes to former Westward Councilwoman, Pastor Mamie Bridgeforth. I won't give her age.
Everybody knows.
I want to give condolences to the family of District 31 leader John Peoples, who passed recently. John I think he was a city employee still, but he has been a district leader at District 31 for quite some time, and we want to thank him for his service to the community. I want to give special thanks to Pastor Clegg at the New Covenant Baptist Church on 12th Street and 13th Avenue for hosting another coat drive. He worked with my office and it was very successful. We had soup and sandwiches and coats, and we had a good time. And also yesterday, I want to thank the 6th Precinct for hosting a community Thanksgiving dinner at the Boylan Rec Center on Thanksgiving Day. So that's all I have. Thanks.
A second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilwoman McIver.
Thank you, Council President. A few motions, announcements. One, I would like to put a motion to the Department of Engineering, Department of Traffic and Signals to request 2 crosswalks on Springfield Avenue at Hudderdon Street and Still Lane. Second motion, this is a repeated motion because I put this motion in before, but still no progress. I requested back in April 2019 for bus stop shelters on South Orange Avenue at Jones Street on both sides, which they were 2 shelters. Since April 2019, I've sent 8 emails to the Director of Engineering regarding the update regarding my bus shelters. Still, I have not got them, so I'm going to put in the request again. Update regarding those 2 bus stop shelters on South Orange Avenue. So hopefully somebody can give me an update about those 2 items that have been going on for a very long time. Some quick announcements. We're going to be having a community conversation tomorrow at Abyssinia Baptist Church, located at 224 West King Street at 9:30 a.m. That's tomorrow, Thursday, December 5th. At the community conversation, we will be hosting our new CEO and president of University Hospital, talking about the vision of University Hospital and going forward. So I'm calling all Central Ward community stakeholders who are available tomorrow to come out. I invite all of my at-large colleagues to come out as well. I sent you all a personal invite if you're free to stop by for that community conversation. This Saturday, December 7th, I will be hosting story time at the Springfield Branch Library located at 50 Hayes Street. All families are welcome to come out. We'll have hot cocoa, of course, and some refreshments as we do our quarterly story time. I will be having an annual Girlfriends Giving event on Wednesday, December 11th at 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Blueprint Cafe in collaboration with Newark Social. It is an event for women to come and bring items for women and babies. We will be giving them to women in transition at different shelters throughout the city. So once again, that's Wednesday, December 11th at 5:30 p.m. at Blueprint Cafe, located at 369 Raymond Boulevard. Calling all women to bring your girlfriends out to help us give back to women that are in need with babies. Lastly, it's that time of the year for our Central Ward Senior Holiday Brunch. It's going to be taking place Saturday, December 21st from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the Robert Tree Hotel. All seniors, Central Ward seniors, are welcome to join us for some live music and some good brunch. I invite all of my Central Ward, I invite all of my at-large colleagues to come out and join us on that day as well if you're available. To RSVP for the event, you can contact Robin in my office at 973-733-5870. And lastly, I would just like to thank everybody who came out to the Central Ward tree lighting ceremony yesterday. It was super cold out there, but thank you to Newark Arts High School as well as the Newark Boys Choir who came out and performed at the event yesterday. And lastly, I would like to thank all of the sponsors who sponsored turkeys and did food giveaways, feedings throughout the city. We fed thousands of families this year, and that's something to be proud of citywide. So I'd like to thank everybody who took part in that, all of the volunteers. It was definitely some amazing events that happened throughout the city, and I was happy to be a part of those while we assist families in need. Thank you.
Roll call. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Councilman Ramos.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few motions. One is a request for a four-way stop sign on the intersection of Montclair Avenue and Parker Street. We've been advised by residents in that area that there have been a number of accidents there over the last few months, so I would ask, through your chair and the clerk, that we send a letter to the Department of Engineering to obtain some of the reports that have been filed regarding vehicular accidents to see if it warrants a four-way stop sign. Yesterday's I raised the issue concerning 43 Beaumont Place and the fact that we need some kind of report back from the administration to the clerk's office. There's a construction going on for a two-family home. There are actually 3 separate lots that potentially will have multifamily homes constructed. The approvals for this project dates back to 2004. And what I'm curious about is, how are those approvals still valid if they were approved so many years back? I've looked through the minutes of the Board of Adjustment meetings. They've never formally extended the approvals, so now you have neighbors who didn't live in that particular area in 2004 who are questioning why this construction is happening and why they weren't notified that in a community that's comprised of mostly one-family homes, you have these 3 multifamily homes being built, and construction's happening every day. And I did reach out to the BA, and I thank him for instructing, his staff. Phil Scott reached out to me yesterday, but we need to kind of like piece together what happened here quickly, because by the time we figure this out, those homes will probably be up. So, if there is a problem that took place as far as, things weren't approved properly or extensions weren't given properly, then the builder needs to be notified so that, they can halt construction. Just a few announcements. One is that tomorrow, on Friday, December 6th, we have our Northwood Holiday Lights Parade. For the last 3 years, we've partnered with our local schools in the area. Each school decorates a float, and we have been very fortunate to have had this beautiful holiday event, which is going to start on Mount Prospect Avenue in Verona around 5:30 p.m. We end up at Mount Prospect Park, where we have a tree lighting ceremony. And I want to thank all the sponsors for the Holiday Lights Parade, including the Mount Prospect Partnership, our Special Improvement District, the Northwest Center, and our Civic Association. So if you have an opportunity and you're in the area tomorrow, it's definitely one of the best holiday events that we've had, and I encourage you all to attend. On Saturday, December 7th, our Civic Association is sponsoring, once again, Pictures with Santa. It's free of charge. We do it at the historic Northwest Center. We hire a semi-real Santa, and please come out and enjoy your pictures. I know they can be very expensive at the malls. You can come to the Northwood on Saturday and take pictures for free. We are asking for a donation of a toy, if possible, for those families that come out and participate. We do expect a big turnout, so if you have an opportunity and go on our Facebook page and register ahead of time, please do so. I want to offer a congratulations to our outgoing Executive Director of Joint Meeting, Mr. Sam McGee, who's retiring. Tonight is actually his retirement party, and he was there for close to 30 years involved with Joint Meeting. He was a former mayor of Hillside prior to that, and the City of Newark is one of the members of Joint Meeting, and I want to offer a letter of congratulations through the council to Mr. McGee, thanking him for his service, and also a letter welcoming our new Executive Director, Ms. Hanifa Johnson, who will start with us in January.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it, Madam President. And one last thing, I want to thank also, all our partners that participated in our annual, Thanksgiving events. We distributed, close to 1,400 turkeys and pork shoulders this year in the North Ward. The prices per pound seem to be going up every year, so we had to definitely pull together and raise some monies, and I want to thank all the volunteers because they were out there from Saturday morning till Tuesday afternoon, making stops at our senior buildings, our churches, and you know, it was a very enjoyable effort, like it is every year.
Second.
Roll call.
I'm still here. Yes.
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 Yes. Just a few motions. One, unfortunately, of sorrow and regret. Doris Poole passed away. Her funeral is today at Wigham's Funeral Home. I did attend the wake on behalf of the council and brought words of sorrow and regret on our behalf. Even though we mentioned the passing of Councilman Calvin West at our meeting yesterday, I don't believe we we had the time to speak to the character of Councilman West, trailblazer, the first African-American at large to be elected in the great city of Newark, and it goes on and on and on. And so to his family, particularly to Teresa, who was an employee in the city of Newark, we do send all of our prayers to be with you in these coming days. I too want to thank the sponsors who supported forgive me, I'm catching a cold. The sponsors who supported our turkey giveaway. Number one, Metropolitan Baptist Church. They allow us to use their Willing Heart Center after so many years, and they never ask us for a dime, and I want to thank them publicly. But I want to thank our sponsors. We were able to give out over 1,000 turkeys to the sponsors. You know who you are. I've already sent out notes of thanks to each one of you for being so supportive over these many, many years. And finally, I want to thank a department in the city administration that doesn't get a lot of positive recognition, and that is the sanitation workers. Last Tuesday, when I was finally able to get home, it was dark. And I heard this sound of this truck. I got out of my car anticipating that it was one of the delivery UPS trucks coming down the hill, but it was not. It was our sanitation workers at about 7:30. They had worked all morning to handle the snowstorm, even though it wasn't major, but they were there to shovel the snow, drop the salt, and create a safe passage for us. And at 7 o'clock at night, they were still working, collecting the garbage to make sure our city remained clean. I sent the director a thank you, and I want to do that publicly as well. Many of you know that my father, before he became a labor leader, was a sanitation worker. I was able to live a life of great comfort because my father tossed garbage. They were called garbage men in those days. And so I just want to say thank you from my past and also from my present. That's it.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Madam President, just real quick, I forgot one motion, and that's that when we passed the amendment to the the issuance of handicap signage, apparently there's a requirement that residents have to get their paperwork notarized in addition to verification from a second doctor. And that's becoming a little bit of a hardship, as you can
Yes, it
imagine. You
is.
can't
It's
bring your
more
notary.
than a hardship.
You can't bring your notary with you to the doctor's office in most cases. And I think the intention was just to get a second verification that that individual has a certain disability. So I don't know, through your chair and the clerk, as to whether we can look at that requirement to have the paperwork notarized, because that person physically has to be there to legally notarize that paperwork.
You want to say?
I was going to say, we got, this week, we received numerous phone calls from residents about the process for the second doctor's note and the notarizing of the paperwork. One, because a lot of people called and said they only have one doctor, and it's becoming a hardship with that. And I know what the intent was for us to amend the ordinance to request a second doctor's note, but a lot of people in our communities do not have two doctors, nor do they have money or insurance to go to a second doctor. So I believe, looking at the notarized piece of it, that's one piece, but also too, we need to look at the whole piece for the second opinion, because it is creating a much hardship, and many people are calling the office. I know literally we got about 20 calls because people are up for renewals for for their space, and still they have to go through that process again, and that is a problem. It is really, really a big problem, and I'm going to ask the council as a whole to take a look at it. I know Councilman Ramos and Councilman Amador had sponsored that piece of legislation, but many people are calling, complaining about that notarized piece and the second opinion. They do not have the money or the ability to go to another doctor who's just going to give them a note, and they haven't been seeing that doctor or going to that doctor. They're not doing it, and that is the complaints that we are getting.
Yeah, Madam President, and I don't think the intention was to create a hardship for anyone, but we've received a lot of complaints about, and we've seen examples where you have one block in certain wards where you have literally almost every parking spot has a handicap parking sign. So I think there has to be a balance so that we do a better job as a city of certifying that those signs are warranted. We obviously want to make accommodations for residents who do have disabilities, but unfortunately, as we've seen in Newark, there is a lot of, fraudulent requests that come to the city, and we have to figure out a way to cut back on that, because it does create a significant hardship for people who live on these blocks. But, I'm open to any suggestions, but I think the issue of having a notary show up with you to the doctor for your visit is something that we can correct right away, and maybe look at some other suggestions on how we can better certify. My original recommendation was to have the city's health department serve as that secondary source, but Dr. Wade wasn't necessarily comfortable with that, so maybe we can revisit that as a more affordable way to allow residents to get a second verification.
I don't want to prolong the conversation, but that was something that I was going to say, because you originally had brought that up when we were talking about it, and I know you were meeting with Dr. Wade about that, but at the end of the day, that's kind of what Jersey City does right now. They have their health department go and certify it, but people are saying if the state only requires one note, why are we requiring two? And so we need to take a look at it. It's short. I know everybody's hungry, so.
Absolutely. Mr. Clerk.
Motion to close.
I like that.
Let's do a roll call on Councilman's motion first. Do I have a second? Okay, roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion, Council of the Whole, to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Damn. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I said yes for you. I'm going to take mine.
We don't have any.